First things to look at is security config, basically telling Spring Boot how to handle authentication. And how you do that in Spring Boot is, you create a security filter chain, and just walking through that, we're disabling cross-site request forgery because we're not using cookies, we're using tokens, so that's not really relevant to us. We're setting sessions to stateless because we don't want to store anything regarding a user's login. We want them to be, in our case, we want them to send a token for every request, and we want to validate that token, the access token, in every request. Next up is we're basically saying, so these are some endpoints that don't need the access token. In particular, auth is important because, for example, their access token might be expired. So yeah, we're just allowing these tokens to be accessed, these endpoints to be accessed without an access token, but everything else needs to come with an access token. And this is where we're saying that we want to be using JWT tokens. And then this is also Spring is going to know to look up to figure out whether or not we've configured a encoder and a decoder bean, as well as providing the secret key for the JWT tokens. And if we've done, it's going to use that. It's going to use those to validate tokens that it receives. And just looking at those encoders, this is where we create the encoder and decoder and provide the secret key. These are beans, so then Spring Boot is going to have that. So yeah, that's from a configuration standpoint, those are the key things. Then talking about, okay, when we're handling login, so first we need to validate the ID token. So we have a controller for handling that. We accept the request from the client, and we are calling Google to validate that ID token. So we can just look at that method real quick. That's making an API request to a Google endpoint that Google provides. And as long as, so we're checking to make sure that the client ID for that ID token matches the client ID for our app. And then we're also making sure that the email, from Google side, Google has it, it's been verified. So yeah, that's simply that verification process. If it's verified, then we're going to go ahead and produce our own JWT token. We have a service to produce that. This is kind of like, Spring Boot machinery. We're creating our token, and leveraging the encoder beans that we set up. And yeah, I think that covers, authentication.